Hi, Sue here from Mystic Matters. Welcome to the next episode of Exploring Popular Opinion. This time I'm looking at higher consciousness. It's something that a lot of people within the spiritual community aspire to become, I suppose, more godlike within ourselves while we're here on this planet. But I want to see what the energy is behind higher consciousness. Is it something that, in order to have higher consciousness, some people might believe that you need to go and sit on a mountaintop meditating all day, so that there's no real interaction with the day-to-day reality that other people, the ordinary people, are experiencing, and maybe some people feel that they can have achieved higher consciousness, but can still interact and have opinions on everyday life, and maybe teach people from that perspective. It's I think it's a bit contentious. So I want to have a look at and see what the energy is behind higher consciousness. And these aren't my opinions. These are me purely reading the cards the way I always read the cards. All right, we're starting off here. Higher consciousness. It's like, who am I? What's my purpose? Why am I here on this planet at this time? And this is when people start asking themselves those questions, this is when they are really on the journey to higher consciousness. It's like, I have a purpose here. What is my soul purpose? What's my life purpose? What do I have to contribute to this, the people, the animal kingdom, the planet, and others? So higher consciousness is also aligned with service to others. It's not so much about cutting yourself off from humanity. It's actually finding a way of helping and being relevant, I suppose. So that's that's what higher consciousness is. Interesting, we have two major arcana cards, and here's a death card. And in order to pursue a life of higher consciousness, or become more conscious within ourselves, it's like we're being offered another life, really. So there's many things that we might have been pursuing before in our lives that no longer are relevant, they no longer serve us. And so this is, it's like, who am I? Okay, well, I'm not that, and I'm not that, and I was doing that, but I'm not that anymore. I don't have the feeling to continue with the things that I did before. So this is really the death of a way of life and the birth of another. And this is a decision many people have to make, to let go of the old in order to embrace the new when they start on the journey of higher consciousness, or improving themselves, or becoming both less egoistic and things like that. What we also will get what we need when, it's the old saying, isn't it? When the student's ready, the teacher appears. So we will get the money, resources we need in order to pursue our particular journey. And I think higher consciousness is different for everybody. Is each of us aspiring to be better, a better version of ourselves? It's not aspiring to be like somebody who is maybe a spiritual teacher. We're not meant to be aspire to be like them. We are. They might give us a roadmap. They might say some things that trigger a response or trigger an understanding in us, but we're not meant to emulate them. We're not meant to slavishly follow their footsteps. That's not what higher consciousness is. It's about learning from, you can learn from somebody that you're standing next to in a queue in a shop, as much as you can learn from a spiritual teacher. There's lessons everywhere. It doesn't have to come from someone who has got necessarily and visibly done a journey, famous for that kind of subject. It said you see lessons everywhere, and you'll be able to up your own level of higher consciousness, because remember, it's about serving others. So you will get the money, the resources you need in order to do that. It will be a lot of hard work ahead. It's not an easy journey by any means. Your motivation here is to be tactful, to be diplomatic, a softly approach. So this is when to become more conscious within ourselves. It's letting go of the big stick to try and force yourself and others to be a certain way, because when we're tactful and diplomatic, we are able to have access to more people than when we take a more aggressive stance. It's like beating people into submission to make them more spiritual. It doesn't tend to happen. They might act it on the outside, but it's not. But it's the inside that matters, and we don't know what's going on in their minds and their hearts. So tact and diplomacy, a softly approach, like dripping information, and allowing people to take it or leave it. But if anyone is a teacher and trying to help people that that want to become more spiritual, to become more self-aware on an inner level, a softly approach is much more beneficial than the fire and brimstone approach. Tact and diplomacy is the way to go. Yelling and shouting or banging on doors is going to alienate people and get them to the point of thinking, if this is higher consciousness, I don't want it. So it is a delicate balance. And even if you know that somebody would be so much better off if they could only do this or that, the other, it is important to let people go at their own pace, or not at all. It's their journey. It's for them to decide. In the past, it's the high priestess And the High Priestess is about having more spiritual knowledge, is following your intuition more. So this is where higher consciousness is coming from. It's following your intuition, letting that guide you, letting your inner voice guide you, rather than the head, the logic of what looks the better way. It's important to feel it. And also this journey, the spiritual journey that we're on, we're not going to be shown the road ahead, because part of the journey, in fact, a lot of the journey, is building up trust that we know we're looked after, we're protected, and that we can step out in a confident way and know that we aren't going to be allowed to fall. That is part of the journey. It's not having the safety of knowing that you've got this path ahead and you can see way into the future, because that's not how trust is built. Trust is built. And I always think of one of the Indiana Jones films, when they're on this steep chasm, you know, and he's asked just to step out, and there is a bridge. But he couldn't see it. He had to just step forward in faith. And then as he stepped onto the bridge, he realized there was something solid underneath his feet, but it was invisible before he had the faith. And that always comes to mind when I think about spiritual journeys and the journey to higher consciousness. It's about stepping out into the unknown, knowing that you're going to be protected. It will bring peace and tranquility, and but also with the Temperance card, it's about good relationships and more loving and supportive relationships. And that's what comes when you're on a genuine spiritual journey and you're not trying to kind of force people for their own good to do it your way. It's about a building of relationships, and there'll be much more harmonious and loving relationships when you're on this journey. So you'll get support, not just from the universe and the resources you need, but for the people you meet along the way. And when you're on that journey, you'll become more aware of when things aren't going your way, when it's like, oh, I don't, this hasn't worked out the way I wanted it to. Maybe I should cut my losses. So there'll be more willingness to let go of things that still are hanging on, maybe people that are hanging on, or circumstances. There'll be more kind of courage to say, okay, well, you know, I'm in this job, I hate this job, but I know that if I leave, then I'm going to be protected. Something else will come up. And so it will give you the courage of your convictions, so that you won't hang on to the things that are holding you back or aren't feeling quite right. You'll say, no, I'm going to cut my losses. This doesn't feel right anymore. It's time to move on. And so it's a gradual process. We started off with the Death card, the opportunity of a new way of life, if we can let go of the old. And it's gradually going back to the old analogy of the onion. We peel off one layer, and then we get to the next step, and then we're prepared to peel off more layers as we go along. So it's an ongoing journey. It's not like we suddenly cut everything off and then it's it's all clear. It's a gradual process. The higher we rise in consciousness, the more things we think we can let go of. It's like, well, you know, last week I felt fine about this situation, but, you know, I've done, say, some more inner work, or I've done some more meditation, or I've spent some time out on my own, and going back into it, it doesn't feel right anymore. It's like I've grown past it. So it's a gradual shedding the layers as we rise in vibration. And this is what people will notice, that we are prepared to walk away from things that are no longer working for us, that have passed their sell-by date. It is walking away from a lot of things on the physical. The material world will become, I suppose, less important in some ways, because the more we're tuned into our inner self, our spiritual self, we'll realize that that is the part of ourselves that is everlasting, that all the material things, the people we are in this lifetime, that's all transitory, it's temporary. But our souls, our higher consciousness, that is what continues on. And everything else is temporary. So what happens on a material and physical level will become less important, and people will notice that once we've made a decision to work towards higher consciousness, we will be letting go of things that no longer serve us, that no longer resonate with us, to reorientate ourselves on a different level. And in our hopes and fears, King of Cups is a counselor, the healer, who's very, very good at helping other people, not so good at accepting help. But this is really when it's hoping that the more that we elevate ourselves, the more that we raise our own vibrations, the more we become less attached to all the physical stuff that's going on, to all the drama in the world, to all the gossip and innuendo and all the things that promote fear. The more that we rise our vibration, the less all these things has any effect on us, because we know that all of it is temporary. You know, it's what major drama one day, and then a week later, everyone's forgotten about it. They're on to the next drama. So a journey into higher consciousness, that is what's going to be qualifying us to become the counselor, the healer, the people that can help others. But the other people have got to be willing. We can't force our ideas, or we have no power to make them do anything. So, but we can be there for people when they need them. And that is our hope, that the higher we raise our vibration, the more we can be of service to others. And at the end of the day, this is new relationships. And I'm talking, well, they are love relationships, but not necessarily of an intimate kind, but having relationships with the people that we don't know, because this card is about not having seen other people's faces, not knowing them very well. So this is about unconditional love. This is about loving people that are that we can't see, but trying to be of benefit. And this is also about when you help people, you don't know who they are. you can't see them. They might be in another country. You will never see them. Then it means that there is no ego attached to that, because we can't say, oh, well, that's so-and-so, I helped them, or I gave them money, or I did this or that, because we are sending out maybe thoughts, maybe prayers, wishing, helping people, because with higher consciousness, we are all one. And the higher our vibration, then the more we can affect other people's lives. Many people will have heard about, people, if they meditate at a certain time and there's many people, they can actually have a massive effect on the outcome of different, places of unrest, or where wars or bad things are happening. So the more people that actually take this journey, the more balance, the more love that we can bring into the world, and we can help people in ways that we will never know if we've helped them or not. But our energy, the love that the unconditional love that we're sending out, will be of benefit in some way or another. But it's not about ego or anything like that. It's just about unconditional love. And it starts with following our intuition, letting that guide us rather than our ego, rather than our mindset. So that's higher consciousness. It's a gradual releasing of the old, and a journey of aspiring to be a better version of ourselves every day, and being of more help and support to our fellow beings. So that's higher consciousness, but it's softly approach, no big sticks. Okay, I hope that's been of help, and see you next time. Bye.